live in 5, 4, 3.
What's up, friends? Welcome. Happy Veterans Day to any of my veterans out there. My, veterans that are active duty after the Army, after the Air Force, after the Marines, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Welcome to Chaos Live. New little background. It's a little echoey. I'll be working on that. I'm just still kind of working on this kind of new setup. I have some padding that's on its way. It'll be here tomorrow to kind of give it a little bit less of an echo to it, so that'll dampen it a little bit with the sound. And so I'll work on that. So we'll have that soon. Let's get the background music going. Have the little mood kind of set here. So welcome to Chaos Live. If you are new, if you've never been here for Chaos Live, this is basically my little veteran Q&A, my Army Q&A. I'll help you out if you have questions, try to answer that stuff. Most of the questions probably military related, but we can go a little bit off topic. I don't really mind too much. It's not politics. I'm not a politics fan. I hate politics. So we'll hang out. But yeah, so this is kind of the first test of the this new kind of setup. But yeah, how echoey is it? I feel like it's really echoey inside here. Let me know down in the chat if it's really super echoey, because I feel like it is. So, but what's up to T-Dog, Sketcher Kids Gaming, Bowser? You guys were like on it. I like hit start streaming, and I think within like a second or two, you guys were in here. What's up, Trace Patton, Sergeant Fishbowl? We got Humongous, Lovable Xena, Emmanuel, Eduardo, Amilcar Cortez, Harvey Nichols, all you guys, awesome. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me for Chaos Live. Echo's not too bad. It's not echoey. Well, I guess I just have a good mic. Microphone's pretty good. To me, it's pretty echoey in here, but hopefully it'll improve a lot. I don't know what it's going to sound like when I do videos for like the main content videos, how echoey it'll be for that kind of a thing. So I'll definitely have it then. Tomorrow the stuff's coming, so I'll be able to install it, get the little padding up and damp it a little bit. The next couple of videos I've already pre-recorded, so they'll already still have the old setup, but this new setup probably won't appear in the videos until the following week. You'll start seeing this kind of new setup. You probably won't see the chaos thing in the videos. I'll probably have the camera angled a little bit more like this way, to where you see more of the Army stuff probably. So it'll be more like that. But for Chaos Live, I thought it'd be cool to be able to have the Chaos little logo back there, so you guys have that in the background. So, all right. So if you have questions, leave them in the live chat. If you're watching this after it was live, you can still leave questions in the comment section. I'll help you out as well. So let's see. Let's scroll through here. Happy Veterans Day. Well, thank you, Sketchers Kid Gaming. I'm sure there's gonna be quite a few of those. Same from Lovable Xena, Harvey. Happy Veterans Day to you as well. What else we got? How's one of my favorite veterans today? Well, I'm doing pretty good. We just got back from Denver earlier today because I was at the 25th anniversary UFC fight. Got this hat and the shirt and everything. So I'm rocking my new UFC hat for this live stream. Went to the 25th anniversary. It was fun. It was a great time. There was some great fights. So it was pretty awesome. Today marks 100 years since the end of World War I, also known as the Great War. Well, thank you, Sketchers Kid Gaming. You never disappoint with the crazy facts from history. Man, I love the intro music. Thank you, Emmanuel. The intro music or this music that's playing in the background? Or both? Both is cool too. What's up, Pedro? Nice new setup. Thank you, T-Dogs. We'll skip through. What do we got? Congratulations on 25,000. Thank you. We're getting closer to 26. We've slowed down a little bit the last month or two. Had a good peak of subscribers that went up pretty fast. In this last month or two, it's slowed down a little bit. So hopefully with stepping up the game with a little bit more kind of steady videos, there'll probably be at least like 4 per week, then hopefully that'll be helpful to encourage more people to want to be subscribed. Hopefully. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans. God bless everyone. I agree. Anybody out there who are veterans, thank you to you as well. Beth here, thank you for your service. Much respect. Well, thank you. Here we go. Here's a question. Kevin asks, what's the difference between a... Let's see, we got a new subscriber. If you're in here, I Spit Shadow, thank you for joining the Chaos Army. What is the difference between an officer and a warrant officer? Can an officer also be a pilot like a warrant officer? So first, the difference between an officer and a warrant officer. Usually an officer kind of straight out of college into the military, or someone who's got a college education. I mean, a warrant officer can have a college education as well, but an officer, you know, is definitely going to have one. But an officer is more of a leadership kind of admin role, where a warrant officer is more of like a technical person, because to become a warrant officer, other than a pilot, you basically have to spend some time being an enlisted soldier, getting all that experience before you become a warrant officer. Except for, like I said, with the exception of pilots. Pilots can go straight off the streets to being a warrant officer. So usually they're more of a technical side, where officer is a little bit more of a leadership admin side. And then there can be officer pilots. It's more common that there's warrant officers for helicopter pilots, but there are some areas where you have like a lieutenant or a first lieutenant that is a pilot. So the chaos thing, you can call it is covering the CDs, isn't it? No, this is actually a different room. So this is my old set was that way, and that is my little entertainment area, which had like my little office, my couch with the TV and the PlayStation and all that stuff. I've moved this now away from that room just to kind of have its own little set, plus I had all the military stuff in the background, and I wanted to expand my little area over there. I'm gonna have a vlog. I have a vlog channel that I haven't really been keeping up with, but I'm gonna try to start keeping up with it. If you later want to go to this main channel, on the right hand side there's a section that has, you know, like my other channels and friends. There's a Chaos Vlogs channel, and I have a vlog that I shot that I still got a little bit more to do, but from the weekend, and this whole new setup kind of a thing will be a part of that vlog as well. So if you're really curious about this new setup, then that'll be in that. But yeah, this is actually, if you saw my video that kind of did my little tour of my like video gear area and little army wall, this is that room. So this is a completely different room than had the CDs. The CDs are still up, but they're next to the couch in the little entertainment area. Chris, is there a specific day when you do polls for 2 Minute Tuesday? I don't really have a specific day. I'm probably gonna make it Wednesdays though. I pre-shot the last 2 Minute Tuesdays because I was gonna be so busy with family being in town and the UFC weekend. So I already have next Tuesdays pre-planned, but I don't have anything planned after that. So I will probably have one, I will probably have the poll up on Wednesday to be able to vote for the next 2 Minute Tuesday. So probably make it to where Wednesdays, I would say, is going to be kind of the idea. Wednesdays will probably be poll days for 2 Minute Tuesday. Hey, I'll hit the like button early on the live stream. I agree, Harvey. If you're in here and you're having a good time, hit that like button because you're amazing, and I know you want to. Happy Veterans Day, my fellow soldier. Welcome, Jay the Vorn. Happy Veterans Day to you. Happy Veterans Day. Question, do you know what the requirements to become a police officer in the Army would be? That will be probably a soon video. A little heads up for you amazing people here joining me for the live stream for Chaos Live. Mondays, MOS Monday, will be the 68 Whiskey, which is a medic. And based on the amount of comments that I've received in the comment section for the next MOS to cover, military police is probably going to be the following Monday. So check back on the following Monday and I'll do military police, a little bit of a breakdown for MOS Monday of what all goes into that. I could Google it, but you could easily Google it as well, but I'll give a little bit more in-depth stuff that I can give from my knowledge of the military police in that video as well. So next, not this Monday, not tomorrow, but next Monday will probably be military police. Question. How can a weatherman be a staff sergeant? A weatherman be a staff sergeant? I mean, could. I don't think they really have a specific MOS in the Army for weatherman. They do have like television stuff, and like there's no meteorologist for the Army. So you'd probably have to go in as just the normal MOS that does like radio and television stuff, and then they would probably cross-train you on certain meteorology stuff, and you would do that. And you'd be able to, you could be a staff sergeant if that's what you're talking about. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but asking if a weatherman be a staff sergeant. But yeah, you could be a staff sergeant, be a weatherman. Like that's, you're not guaranteed to be the weatherman. But hello from, what was it, Daleville, Alabama? Welcome, Mark, all the way from Alabama. I'm in high school looking to do ROTC in college. I've always wanted to be in the Navy, but I'm considering the Army. Can you give me an option about what branch I should join? Basically, so Jarrett, the basic answer I always give to anybody who asks this question is it really depends on what you want to do. What do you want to do in the military? So there are some jobs that are just better to do that job in the Army or the Marines or the Navy or the Air Force, and it depends on what that job is. And you really just have to look at it that way. If you want to do stuff with aircrafts, then probably the Air Force is better with you. Things with satellites, Air Force is probably great with you. If you want to be, you know, on the ground, being a grunt, being, you know, in action and everything, then either the Army or Marines. You just have to kind of gauge which one's better. If you want to do a lot of stuff like on ships, like, you know, aircraft carriers, then, you know, a Navy, obviously. So it really doesn't, I can't really say that one branch of the military is better for one person than the other. It really just depends on what you want to do in the military as to which branch is going to cater to that the best. So that's always my advice. I'm going to subscribe to your vlog channel. I'll be right back. All right, T-Dog. I wanted to join the Army, but my brother, who was in the Army, suggested I join the Air Force. He thinks they'll teach things more useful for everyday life. What do you suggest? Same kind of answer I just gave to Jared. It depends on what you want to do. Certain branches of the military are better capable of helping you with what you want to do, I guess, better. Patrick asked, do I work out? Why do I look swole? I don't think I look swole. I look probably a little large in the midsection right now. I'm a little out of shape. I was working out. I was doing a lot of hiking, a lot of road marches stuff, a little bit of running here and there, but I've been really slacking the last couple of months. But I need to really get back into it because I might try to do the Baton Death March in Fort Bliss in March of next year. And if I am going to try to do that, I really need to get back into shape to be able to do that. So right now, I don't really work out, but I need to get back into it. Hey Chris, just got a notification, haven't joined live stream for a while. Welcome, Paul Abrams. Welcome to the live stream. I'm studying aviation management. If I go to ROTC and become an officer, will it boost my chances of becoming a pilot? Yeah, it could, basically. Well, I mean, if you want to become a pilot, it depends on what you want. Like, if you want to, you just got to get that, you know, into your contract to be that MOS. So if you're doing ROTC, I don't know if the Army would be best for you. I mean, you can still get into that field of pilots for helicopters. If you're trying to do like jets and stuff like that, then it's probably better just to go Air Force, maybe even Navy, because Navy does have some, you know, aircrafts. But if you want to do helicopters, you might want to look into the option of warrant officer, and you can go straight out for the street. So it just depends. You're trying to do fixed wing or rotary wing. Hey, Chaos, I tried to enlist, but was rejected due to having autism. Was what a disqualifying condition when you enlisted? Was it? Let me see. Asking was that a disqualifying condition? Probably. I'm sure. I don't think that's changed. I'm sure that's probably a case. There was a guy that I knew in the Army. I'm pretty sure he had a mild case of autism, and he was able to, you know, get through the system somehow. But I guess it just depends. If they catch it, then yeah, there's probably nothing you can do about it. Probably stuck in a situation. There's maybe other options if you really wanted to do something like military style related that might allow you to do that. I don't know if there's anything like with working with the Red Cross, not really military related, but I don't know. It's kind of a tricky situation where you don't have a whole lot of options probably available to you military wise with having autism and stuff. It's a bummer, but don't let it discourage you from life. I did a documentary on a guy who had autism. He wanted to be a newscaster. He's still nowhere near that, but it didn't stop him from trying, and he's gotten to some good places still in his path. Not being on the news, you know, being a newscaster, but in other places that I feel like he's kind of, you know, gotten to because he didn't give up. So I would definitely say don't let it get in your way from trying to do something that you want to do. Military might be kind of tough, but maybe there's other things that are similar. Does anybody know about a Diver 12 Delta? I do not. What's up? Just wanted to say that your channel is probably the best place I've found on YouTube for trying to get more information about the Army. I appreciate what you do. Well, thank you, Aaron. I appreciate what you say. I appreciate watching Chaos live and all my other videos and all that fun stuff. So thank you. Appreciate that. I asked the weatherman question, but I have a friend that's in the Air Force and he's a staff sergeant. Just thought it was a bit sketchy, so I thought you'd be a good resource. Garrett, welcome to the Chaos Army. Yeah, the Air Force, same kind of thing. They have it, like I said, I don't think it's specifically a weatherman, but you could become a weatherman by being in that MLS, that job that gets you on TV and doing stuff. I don't think they have I don't know. Maybe the Air Force does. Air Force might have a meteorologist kind of position. I'm pretty sure the Army doesn't though, but maybe the Air Force does. But yeah, it's a possibility. Because they do have AFN, the Armed Forces Network, and it's like a news station and TV station that they mostly use like overseas, like in Germany and Korea and other places, in Iraq and Afghanistan or wherever. And then those people that are on that news station are military personnel, either Marines, Air Force, Army, or whatever, and that's their job, is to do television stuff. So it's not surprising that you have a weatherman as a staff sergeant in the Air Force. Thanks for the videos. Good job. Keep them coming. Thank you, Patrick. Diverse job pool, go Army. Want to travel, go Navy. Want to play with a lot of technology, go Air Force. I agree, Jay the Vorn. Probably along those lines. Bring back the 30-day workout challenge. That was pretty rough. It was hard to stay motivated with that. I have this 30-day, for anybody who hasn't seen that, I did this little 30-day workout challenge thing where I was doing Army PT for 30 days in the style of how I used to do PT in the Army, physical fitness, physical training. And then did a PT test at the beginning and a PT test at the end. There was some improvements, but I was kind of lazy about it. It was tough to stay motivated. I was not very good at staying motivated at it. So the improvements that I did make by the end of it probably were not nowhere near as good as they could have been had I actually pushed myself and been a little bit more motivated. So it was tough. So I don't know if I'll bring back the 30-day workout challenge. Plus, they didn't really do that good on this channel. I mean, if you go back to them, I think all of them have less than 1,000 views. I think maybe a couple of them might have over 1,000 views, but they didn't really do that good compared to all the other stuff that I have on this channel. Maybe as a vlog, some kind of workout stuff, but I doubt it. I'm not a very good fitness kind of person. Matt Ward is probably your best person for fitness type of stuff, Army related. Bye, Chris. Off to bed. Have a good one. Well, thanks, T-Dog, for coming and hanging out. Come to Virginia. I'll house you and bring you shooting. I got some AKs. Well, if I ever go to Virginia, maybe I'll have to hit you up. I don't know if I have any reason to go to Virginia at this point. Want to eat crayons? Go Marines. So I know a Marine who's a pretty big dude, and you probably wouldn't want to tell him that. He's a pretty big guy. Who do I write to the Veterans Administration to get a copy of my stepdad's DD-214? There's I don't know, it'd be tough to get a copy of the DD-214, I would imagine. I don't know. You'd probably need to try to get a hold of maybe like the DAV, the Disabled Veterans Association, or I don't know who else you could probably contact to try to find out the process of trying to get a copy of someone's DD-214. But it's probably a pain. It's probably a pain to get it. That would be one place I would try to look into. I would imagine if they don't, they might not be the person to contact to get a copy of a DD-214 from the DAV, but they might know who to contact. I don't really know the good answer for that. So, sorry, apologize for that. Want to become a 5-finger Feelit Pro? Go Marine, what? Hey, I'm from Canada, so for me it's Remembrance Day, but Happy Veterans Day. Well, thank you, Tom. Derek, what's up? What's up, brother? Chaos, Happy Veterans Day. Thank you for you and your man. Thank you. I still need to download your album to check that out. That one song I heard was pretty cool, but I need to get back online and go back to that email and check out your album, man. Sounds like it's pretty awesome, though. My dad was an MP. I did 4 years in JROTC in high school, and I'm going in as an 18 X-ray Special Forces candidate. Would it be easier to start off in infantry? Maybe. From the people that I've known who have done the 18 X-ray option, they kind of wish they would have gotten a little bit more experience in the military because it would have made it a little bit easier of a process. Usually it seems like the chances of going straight 18 X-ray and then getting selected is fairly slim. Most of the people that do make it through selection and go on to actually become a member of the Special Forces are usually people who have spent a couple years already in the Army, getting experience either as an 11 Bravo or something, something else. So they know already some tactics and a little bit of how things work in the military, and it makes it a little bit easier for them to go through the process. For brand new people, it's possible to get through the whole process because there are people that do make it through the whole 18 X-ray process and get selected and go Special Forces. But from all the stories I've heard from people that have gone that route, most of the people struggle. Eric, thanks for joining the Chaos Army if you're here in Chaos Live. So that's the difficult part. But even if you fail, then you always try again as long as you don't quit. If you quit, then you might get a never to return, and you might not be able to come back again. So it's tough. How is Fort Jackson? I have never been there. What is the Nest way to join the Special Forces? So a best way, I'm assuming was that it was. Best way to join the Special Forces from experience that I've had with individuals who have done that route. Obviously, like I said, I've never done the 18 X-ray option. I've never tried out for Special Forces, but I know quite a few people. And the story that I always hear is find a job that you will enjoy in the Army, go into that job first, and then try out for Special Forces. Because at least this way, when you go through the selection process, and if it doesn't end up working out and you don't make it, then at least you don't get stuck with some crummy job. Maybe you might end up being 11 Bravo, you might end up being something else. And it might not be a job that you really want to do. So if you already start off in a job that you like and you don't make selection, then at least you get to go back to that job that you were enjoying instead of ending up taking your chances with going to some other random job that you may not enjoy as much. That is usually the advice I hear from people who have done the 18 X-ray option, is to find a job that you'll enjoy, go into that first, and then go Special Forces. So I'm Prior Service Marines. I ship out for reception tomorrow, then Fort Lee for AIT. Do you have any advice? I don't know about advice. You'll probably have it a lot easier than a lot of the other Army people, because you're going Army. Is that where you're switching from the Marines to the Army? Right? Yeah, I'd imagine so. But you're not going to have to do it as crazy as like all the newbie people. They're going to have to live in these crummy barracks. You're going to live in some other permanent party barracks that are a lot nicer, that are probably with other people who are either reclassing or switching over from another branch or coming back to the military. And you won't have to deal with any of the crap that all the other people are having to deal with buffing floors and doing guard and night watch and all that stuff like that. You're just going to have to show up for physical fitness in the morning. After physical fitness, you're released and you go back to those little barracks you have to get cleaned up, and then you probably have to be at class by a certain time to be where you're supposed to be. You're not going to have to deal with all the marching like the other people are going to have. So that's the only really advice, not really advice, but kind of a little heads up, is it's not going to be as bad as like the brand new people are going to have to deal with because you're prior service. So it'll be a little bit nicer. Let's see. You gonna make a channel theme song? Probably not. I have different songs that I use a lot, but I don't think they're necessarily theme songs. So I just swore in a bit ago and got a job as a 92 Yankee. I was just wondering if I could get into Special Forces. Yeah, I mean, you can always go through the whole process, do your AIM or your basic training, AIT, and then later apply for Special Forces. That's always an option you can do. If you watch my Special Forces video, there's just some requirements. You have to, become a private first class before they'll usually select or allow you to go to the schooling. But yeah, you can always later on go Special Forces in the Army. You don't have to be stuck with that MOS. You can always go Special Forces later and try out for it. Chaos question: If you join the Army and if you switch to the Marine Corps, do you keep the rank you had in the Army, or will you start off as an E1? You may or may not get to keep the same rank you are, but you're probably not going to go all the way down to E1. Let's say you were an E4 in the Army. You might get to come into another branch of service as an E4. You might have to come in as one rank lower than that, as an E3 instead. It just kind of depends, sometimes in different situations, of what they can offer you. So you won't necessarily have to start off as an E1, but you may or may not get to keep the same rank you had. Sometimes that applies with like non-commissioned officers a lot of times. If you are, say, like an E5, you're a sergeant, you might not be able to switch branches in the military and still be a sergeant. You might have to go down to an E4 and then go through their system of becoming a non-commissioned officer. So it just kind of depends on situations. Sometimes it's not every situation's the same. Eduardo, you will have to start off as an E1 if you switch to the Marines. Yeah, no, not necessarily Sketch Kid Gaming. They'll train, because they'll keep into consideration your military experience, and they'll have you come in at a certain rank. Like I said, mainly it's probably going to affect non-commissioned officers. Other lower enlisted soldiers, maybe not as much. Have I been to Fort Hood? I have, not as a soldier, but I have been to Fort Hood. Fort Hood's okay. Some people hate Fort Hood, some people love Fort Hood. The area is pretty cool, not immediately outside the gate. Killeen is kind of ghetto, but you have Austin, Texas, and San Antonio that are really nice. So it kind of depends. What's up, Chris? I'm able to watch your stream from Iraq. Well, that is awesome. What are you doing in Iraq? Are you living in Iraq? Are you military? What's happening in Iraq? I don't think we have. Do we have military in Iraq anymore? I don't think we have. I think Kuwait maybe. I don't know if we have anybody in Iraq anymore. Might be a couple doing some training stuff, but I don't know. What's the MOS, best MOS for an engineer? Was that 12 Bravo? I don't know. I think there's a couple of different engineered MOSs. I don't know which one's the best, though. I couldn't really tell you. Do officers go to the field and combat zones? They do. They will still do all that stuff. They won't have to do a lot of the labor stuff that the privates and lower enlisted are doing. But you know, they'll be doing a lot more of the training, behind the scenes, leadership stuff, and all that kind of thing. And then combat zone, I mean, they'll still be in a combat zone. If you're with the infantry, you might still be doing some raid stuff, but for the most part, a lot of other officers are doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff here and there. Some people are going on missions, though, still, too. It just kind of varies, but they do still go to the field, and they still do go to combat zones. How do you get into Special Forces in the U.S. Army? Either 18 X-ray, or you call up a Special Forces recruiter and tell them you're interested. And then they kind of walk you through the process of trying to go to the school. What do you think of air assault? I have never done air assault. I thought about doing it at one point in time, but I didn't. I had quite a few friends that have done it. They said it actually involves a lot of math, because like I always thought that it was a lot of like just rappelling out of helicopters and doing that kind of work, but there's also a lot of math that involves like trying to sling load equipment to helicopters so they can be airlifted out, and you have to know how to do some calculations to be able to make sure that, you know, the weight is distributed properly and it's not going to be too heavy for the helicopter, and all sorts of other stuff you have to configure it. So it's more than just rappelling at helicopters. You also are doing the sling loading and everything. So there's a lot of math also involved. Who was the highest ranking in the Army you met? Army-wise, I think a 2-star general. 3-star, either 2 or 3-star general. I don't remember. Maybe a 4. I can't remember. I didn't actually meet him, but General Petraeus, he was in charge of the Iraqi campaign when I was there, and I saw him in the airport. I didn't actually meet him, though. I just saw him there. As far as actually meeting someone, it's either a 1-star general or a 2-star general, probably. But I have met the Joint Chief of Staff, but at the time he was not Army, he was Navy. Hey Chaos, I leave for basic training in June for Fort Leonard Wood. Any advice? Leonard Wood kind of sucks. But if you're doing basic training there, I mean, you're not going to see anything really at Fort Leonard Wood anyways. But really, my best advice would be checking out that video that I did on the, what did I call it? Something about basic training. It's a recent video. What was it? It wasn't the 5 things not to do in basic training or something? I don't remember offhand what the name of the video was, but look through my videos, something like along those lines, and that'll help you out. I think that's some good ones of not standing out and not trying to draw attention to yourself and certain other things. Really, that'll probably help you a little bit. I would say. You know anything about West Point admission? Currently a high school sophomore with a 3.85 GPA, and I do football, wrestling, and lacrosse. West Point is a very difficult one to get into. You usually have to get recommended by like a senator, a governor, or something. So I don't know the whole process of it, but it can be difficult. It's not impossible, but it is very difficult to get into West Point. So, but yeah, I would look into it. I believe that that's usually the biggest drawback for some people, is that you have to basically get nominated by a government official to be able to go to West Point, unless you had like your father or something like that was a Medal of Honor recipient or something like that. Then you basically get a free pass. But otherwise, yeah, you're gonna have to like get someone to nominate you. Did it really take you 9 years to be a E5 sergeant? It didn't take me 9 years. I got promoted to sergeant after 4 or 5 years, something like that, either 4 or 5 years. And then I just stayed as a sergeant for a long time for the rest of the time because points were really high for my MOS to make it to E6. So I was not able to make it to E6 before I was ready to get the hell out. And then like the last year that I was in the Army, you're no longer eligible. If you have less than a year left in the Army, for that rank, for that particular rank anyways, I can't move from E5 to E6 unless I re-enlist. So basically my last year I wasn't even eligible to make a promotion. So, but yeah, I think it was only 4 or 5 years. Welcome, Mr. Smith, because I don't know how to pronounce that first name. If you were here, welcome to the Chaos Army. Do officers go to basic training? They do. They still go through basic training. So they have their own kind of version. It depends on what route you go. If you go ROTC, they have their own version of kind of like a basic training kind of thing that you do over one of the summers. But if you do the OCS, then I think you go through basic training. You're getting paid, I think, like E6 pay, but you're not wearing E6 rank. I forget, it's something weird like that. But you still go through basic training, and a lot of people don't even know that you're an officer, or you're going to be an officer. In some cases, I don't believe. I forget. There was somebody I knew who went through that process, and I forget how that kind of worked for OCS. I think you're doing it with a lot of other privates, and they don't even know you that you're a. I think they pin you as a specialist, but you're getting E6 pay or something like that. I don't remember, something weird like that. So, but yeah, officers do in some way go through basic training. So, Daniel, welcome to the Chaos Army if you're here in Chaos Live. Korean Zombie got knocked out. He did. That was pretty crazy. We're talking about UFC for that comment right there. The Korean Zombie was in the main event for the UFC fight night that I was at last night in Denver, Colorado. That's where I got my sweet UFC hat and my 25th anniversary t-shirt. They even gave us these cool towels. I don't have it down here, it's upstairs, but they gave us these cool towels too for free. They had this little logo on it, the original UFC logo. So it was pretty cool. They had that and everything like that. But yeah, the main event, Korean Zombie got knocked out last second. I mean, it was what was it, 4:59 left in the final round, and I think Korean Zombie was winning that fight too. I think if he would have survived not getting knocked out, I think he would have won by a decision. But he got caught. It was a crazy fight. There was some good ones last night. It was fun. I'm deployed over here in Iraq as a truck driver. I'll be home in 4 months. Well, awesome, Samuel. Good luck over there. Iraq is not very fun. I did not like Iraq. But hey, at least you're probably nice and warm where it is freezing cold here in Colorado. So, but well, depends on what time it is over there in Iraq. I don't know what time it is right there and over there, but I remember the mornings could be kind of chilly, even because you're so used to it being like 100 and something degrees, 50 degrees, 60 degrees, whatever in the morning. It felt really cold, but this is just how it is when you're used to it being super hot. Is there a specific MOS for an electrician? Army page seems pretty vague. There is, I think. I don't remember what it's called though. You want me to look that up? Let me see. I don't remember what the MOS is for that. A 12 Romeo? I think that's what it is. So 12 Romeo is probably the main one. That one involves, here, I'll bring up the Army page over here so you guys can see too. That one requires a 93 in electronics on the ASVAB. Training, interior electrician requires 10 weeks of basic training, which is normal, and then 7 weeks of AIT. So install transformers, read blueprints, test equipment for operational conditions and circuits, inspect power distribution systems, shorts and wires, and repair and replace faulty wiring and lighting fixtures. So there you go. A 12 Romeo, I believe, is that's the one I was thinking of. I think that I've always heard of. I've never met anybody that was a 12 Romeo. So there you go. It's available both enlisted, active duty, Army Reserves. So it probably also means National Guard too if you wanted to do National Guard. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you a little bit right there. A second lieutenant is like a private, right? Because they just started. Sort of. I mean, probably to other officers, they're almost treated that same way, but you're definitely not Army-wide treated that way. They're still a lieutenant. They're still higher ranking than all the other soldiers, you know, in their platoon probably. They're going to be a platoon leader, so they're basically the leader of that platoon that works alongside that platoon sergeant, who's usually like an E6, E7. But yeah, I mean, they're not treated the same way as a private. You can't really compare a second lieutenant to a private because they definitely don't have to do the same crap. A private is going to get stuck like, you know, sweeping and mopping and buffing floors and doing a lot of crummy stuff, but a second lieutenant is not. Second lieutenant will not get stuck having to do that kind of thing. So, if you fail basic, can you go to a different branch and try again? It depends on the type of discharge you get. If you fail basic and they kick you out and give you a general discharge or an ELS, and it depends on what the stipulation is that are in there. I've heard stories, you know, of people, you know, getting injured in basic training and not being able to finish, or just not being able to meet the requirements in basic training and getting kicked out, and they were able to go to another branch of the military, the Navy, Air Force, or whatever, if it'll take them. Some branches are pretty strict on that kind of stuff and may not take you. So it just depends. Sometimes, in some cases anyways. Air Assault is like sniper school, is a lot of math. I don't know. I don't know if it's the same. I would imagine Sniper School has a little bit more difficulty than Air Assault, but I do know that Air Assault has a lot of math involved. Bye. Gotta leave stream. Bye. Well, thanks Jacob for hanging out. What was your ASVAB score? I don't remember. It wasn't very high. I goofed off when I took my ASVAB. I think I explained that in the ASVAB video. I basically just went and took the ASVAB because it got me out of class, and I just wasn't sure about if I was going to join the Army at the time. So I really kind of screwed off on the ASVAB. I answered the questions that were fairly easy, and any ones that took a little bit of, like, you know, working out a math problem or a little bit more concentration, I didn't waste my time and I just guessed. So I didn't really try very hard. So I don't know what kind of score I would have gotten had I actually tried really hard. I mainly just looked at it as an opportunity to get out of class. It was enough to get me to join the military, but it wasn't a very high score to where I didn't get a lot of MOSs to select from. So I don't recommend doing it that way. Thanks. I also have AIT there for 88 Mike. Fort Linderwood, yes. Wait, you're on Twitch? I am not on Twitch. If there is a video of me on Twitch, let me know, because I am not streaming on Twitch right now. So I'd be a little confused who's streaming on Twitch. I don't think there's anything set up automatically for me to stream on Twitch. I have a Twitch account, but it doesn't. It's not linked to this or anything, I don't believe. So let me know. Is there a stream on Twitch? It should just be on YouTube. So. Would you take a punch from Daniel Cormier for $1,000? No, not for $1,000. Maybe $1 million. Maybe $1 million I would take a punch from Daniel Cormier. But not for $1,000. Let's see. 12 Bravo, U.S. Army. Never forget. Awesome, Samuel. Is that engineer, right? Yeah. Cool. Thank you, vets and troops of all branches. I agree. Do you have any knowledge or experience with 92 Yankee Unit Supply Specialist? I do. I have a couple of friends that I've known that have done that job. Welcome, Christian, to the Chaos Army if you're here in the live stream. But for supply specialists, it's just working a lot in like a supply room. They have a supply room usually in the units area where you maintain inventory of different equipment. Some of it's, you know, miscellaneous stuff like eye protection. Some of it's like the plating for your vest and a whole lot of other stuff. I think you're also responsible for like the hand receipts that the commander has to do for like the vehicles and other equipment and stuff too. But I know a little bit about it, but I've had a couple of friends in my military experience that I still talk to that were supply specialists. Godspeed, Samuel. Stay safe. I pray for all of you. Safe return. Agree. Good luck to you, Samuel. Is it easy to get discharged? Sure. If you want to get kicked out. I mean, if you do the right thing, you can get an honorable discharge, and that's fairly easy to do. And if you want to get kicked out of the Army, just do some drugs. That'll get you kicked out. I took mine in the 11th grade for fun. For ASVAB, talking about, yeah, I think mine was my senior year. And I, like I said, I think, or it might have been my junior year. I don't remember when it was. I took it. Happy Veterans Day, Christopher Chaos. Thanks, Scott. Hey, and by the way, thanks for any of you that maybe also subscribe to JT Suits, Navy guy who's really good for similar content to me, but on the Navy side, because he's live streaming, I believe, right now. And if you're here and you're also subscribed to JT, then I'm glad you're here and not over in JT's live stream. But there's probably some people over in JT's live stream that are probably subscribed to me that aren't willing to leave JT's, which is fine. It's cool, whatever. So probably missing out on some of those people because he happened to be doing a live stream at the same time as me. Well, he started a little bit before me, but I wasn't going to postpone mine and wait for his to end. So we're here to hang out. Does 92 Golf go to school after basic or is on the job training? Everybody has an MOS. I don't even know what a 92 Golf is. I gotta Google it. 92 Golf MOS, but everybody has AIT. Culinary specialist, oh yeah. Yep, their AIT is how long? 9 weeks. 9 weeks of advanced individual training, which probably also has other little extra stuff I know I've heard about that some people can do to get other certifications as a cook. But yeah, they still have training they have to do after basic training as well. NP Massive, I've subscribed to your channel. If you have any questions about basic or AIT for 80 Mike, I'd be more than welcome to answer them for you. But I was an 80 Mike. I know a lot about 80 Mike. That's what I did for 10 years. Would you ever join the service back? No, I am pretty happy being a civilian. Do you have any opinions on becoming a UN peacekeeper? I have no idea what that takes to do that, so I couldn't help you. Hey Chris, first want to say thank you for your service and sacrifice on behalf of our country and protecting our freedom, and happy Veterans Day to you. Well, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Manuel saying goodbye. Well, thanks for hanging out. It was fun chatting in the stream. Got to change my phone and charge my phone and go to sleep. Boring and busy day tomorrow. Hope everything goes well. And again, happy Veterans Day and thanks for your service. Thanks, Emmanuel. Have a great night. Thanks for joining Chaos Live. 92 Series MOS go to Fort Lee. I believe that's what it said up there. I don't remember, but yeah, sure. I'll take your word for it. Jay the Vorn. Sorry I missed you in Dallas. My recruiter wanted me to be at his office at 1, and he was meeting people at 2. I emailed you, but never got a response. Do you plan on coming back to Dallas? I probably didn't check that email. The responses, if you replied to the emails that went out, it goes to a different email that I normally check, so I probably missed it. But yeah, not a big deal, man. I understand people have other things in life that they have going on, so if you weren't able to make it out, not a big deal. As far as plans to go back to Dallas, not at this point right now. I've talked about it before in a previous live stream. The tour didn't go that well. I was super, excited to meet those that did show up, and it was really nice to get to hang out with those people and talk and everything like that, and I enjoyed that. But you got to look at kind of YouTube as a business in a way too, and from the business aspect, it probably was not a very good business move. I probably need to try to line it up to where I'm doing some sort of video and kind of incorporating that with doing a meetup, so that way I'm not just coming out to meet people, which doesn't really help my channel any because it's people that are already enjoying my channel. So I need to try to maybe next time try to line up some kind of video project with the meetups. That way it kind of somehow helps the channel still. That it was cool meeting whoever showed up, but it didn't really help the channels necessarily. Will the Army make their final decision on the new uniform changes before the end of the year? I don't know. I am not sure on when they're going to make those final changes or decisions. There was something in the Army Times about pinks and greens. Yeah, they have that that uniform. I did a video on it a while back. They're considering that, but I don't know whether they're still considering that or not. But it's not to replace the dress blues, but to make it like an everyday wear uniform. It looks like they are going with them also. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it yet. What is it like to work in a motor pool as a 91 Bravo. I have no idea. What's the 91 Bravo again? Did we already look this one up? I don't know what a 91... I don't know all the MOSs off the top of my head. So some of the times I have to look them up. A wheeled vehicle mechanic? Oh, it's long days. That's the MOS I was going to do. I was kind of interested in when I first was thinking about joining the Army. I'm glad I didn't, because those guys work long hours. You have to get these trucks up and running, ready for mission, and all that kind of stuff. So sometimes you're stuck in the motor pool for a very long time, working on trucks to get them mission capable to execute a mission that needs to happen the next day or whatever the case might be. So those can be some long hours, especially like in deployments. During deployments, those guys were busy as hell doing stuff, changing out windshields, doing all sorts of stuff. So that's a rough job, I would imagine. What do you do weekly as an 88 Mike? How often do you do mission? You have a lot of like mixture of stuff. So you have to maintain your vehicles. It's usually Mondays. That's a lot of MOSs do this though. They have command maintenance on Mondays where you're checking out your vehicle, looking for any deficiencies and getting stuff worked on if it needs to. And it's just inspecting your vehicle on Mondays. And then other times during the week, so like a lot of the jobs that I did as an 88 Mike was a lot of ammo stuff. So you have like ranges going on where soldiers are qualifying with weapons or there's training with weapons, and you have to draw the ammo to haul that ammo out to the ranges. So 88 Mike's be busy doing that kind of work. Sometimes going to other buildings to pick up like the main warehouse of where parts come in for the mechanics to use to work on vehicles. So you have to go down there and pick up the parts to get loaded to your truck and bring them back to your motor pool. So a lot of those missions, there are a lot of different things you have to do with training environments, training things that are happening, as well as just picking up stuff from for the maintenance people and all that kind of stuff. So it just kind of depends. What is reception like? It's horrible. You're basically just getting your uniforms issued to you, getting some of your equipment for basic training, and getting processed into the system, and not really doing PT yet, unless you fail that little initial PT test. But you have like an initial PT test you'll do a couple days into it. So it's not fun. Reception sucks. Hey Chris, do you belong to any of those veteran organizations like the VFW, Army Vets, etc.? I can bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to do it. Nope, I am not. I am not a veteran. Like, I'm not a member of like the VFW or any of that stuff. So no, I'm just not really that interested in it, because you know they do a lot of like organization for a lot of different stuff and hangouts and drink in their little bars and all that stuff like that. And I'm not a drinker, so yeah, I'm not interested in that kind of stuff really either. Wanted to join the Army since I was in the 2nd grade, but I have TBI, so I just am a sponge with military info. Well, hey, whatever you can do. Good night, Chris. Have to go to bed. Wish you had an awesome day. Great night, too. Well, thank you, Rachel. Thanks for joining Chaos Live. I want to enlist. My 2 branches of choices are Army or Air Force. A lot of people from the Army tell me, don't join the Army, go Air Force. Your thoughts? Again, I've said it, I think, earlier in the stream. It depends on what job you want to do. I believe the Air Force is probably easier in some aspects than the Army. In some cases, not everywhere's, you know. But a lot of the Air Force jobs are a lot of office jobs. Most of them are anyways, where the Army is not necessarily, does not have the same kind of, you know, equivalence in office jobs as the Air Force might have. But it depends on what you want to do. If you're looking to do combat stuff, then the Army's probably better for you. If you're looking to do more of that techie kind of stuff, because that's a little bit more of what Air Force is kind of, you know, geared towards, is that technology stuff with satellites and aircrafts and all sorts of stuff like that, then the Air Force is better for you. So it depends on what you want to do as far as which one to join. Can you gain other MOS schools while in the National Guard? You'd have to reclass. So you can't have multiple MOSs. You have to pick a job, and then if you want to reclass to another job in a couple years, when your first contract is coming up to the end, and you want to reclass to something else, then you have to reclass to something else. You can't just kind of, you know, flip-flop back and forth. Our 68 Whiskey is allowed to return fire in case of enemy combat. Do line medics usually stay back, or how does that work? They still carry weapons, so medics will still carry weapons, and yeah, so they could return fire. Usually you have a medic embedded with you. I give a little bit more details on Monday's video for medics, because that's MOS is Monday. MOS Monday video tomorrow will be 68 whiskey. I need an MOS cheat sheet. I probably do. There's a lot though. There's like 180 MOSs, so it's hard to keep up with all of them. Would you rather be infantry or artillery? Probably neither. But if I had to pick between the two, I don't know. Infantry, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. It'd be a tough one because I'm not really interested in either one. My step was heavy equipment operator. He was in Vietnam. Well, that's awesome. 68 whiskey combat medics are basically infantrymen, but have to carry medical supplies too. So yeah, they carry their weapon on their person in a combat zone. Whether they're in direct combat depends, basically. If you're an 88 series, you as an operator, you with the equipment also, that is for sure. I had to say with my RT 2040 plenty of times. Yeah, you're a lot of equipment to maintain as an 88 series. I was just an 88 mic, so I don't have any experience with the other ones. Gotta head out, Chris. Enjoyed watching the stream. Hope you can catch another stream from you while I'm over here, but if I can't, I'll definitely catch another one of your streams when I get back. Well, good luck to you, Samuel. Be safe, and hopefully you make it back for another Chaos Live. Good night, veterans, and good night to the people that is watching the live. Hope you all have a good sleep and sweet dreams. Thanks, Rachel. Thank you, and have a great night to you as well. Chris, your thoughts on Army looking to field some competitive video gamers to play for the Army at professional video game competitions? I have not heard about that. Sounds interesting. I'm not aware that that was a thing. Be kind of weird, kind of strange, I would imagine. I'd imagine people would be probably ragging on them pretty hard, so it'd be kind of a little bit rough. I don't know, but I'm not aware of that, so I've never heard of that. Do you know when a Cav Scout can wear his spurs? Like, when is it appropriate? So really, anybody in a Cav unit will, if they have spurs, because it depends on if they're doing a spur ride or if they deployed with a Cav unit or with that Cav unit. As far as if they wear spurs and Stetson and also, well, anywhere you wear a Stetson, but you have to earn the spurs. Usually it's only specific formations. Usually you don't just walk around wearing those spurs. Not most Cav units don't usually do that. It's usually when they have like a squadron formation, then they say, hey, you know, put on your spurs for the squadron formation, or bring your spurs for the squadron formation, and people who want to wear a Stetson can wear a Stetson, and all that stuff. But yeah, it's not normally, and then special events too, but it's not like an everyday thing that people walk around wearing spurs in the Cav. So, what's combat training like for a 68 whiskey? Just medical stuff. I mean, it's a lot of just giving IVs and treating casualties and all that kind of stuff. I don't like specifically what else to give information on that, because I only know a little bit of what I've seen from interacting with 68 whiskeys and the medics and everything like that. But a lot of different things that they do, a lot of that kind of stuff. You know, you have some training scenarios where, you know, so many people are designated to be casualties, and the medics will treat them. Excuse me. Can you join the Army as an 18 X-ray, or do you have to be an 11 Bravo first? No, you can join as an 18 X-ray. That's what the 18 X-ray option is people straight off the streets going to try out for Special Forces. But I talked about earlier in the video, like I said, that some of the suggestions I've heard from some individuals that have done the 18 X-ray is they recommend coming into the Army at an MOS that you like, and then later trying out for Special Forces. That way, if you don't make it, then you at least get to go back to that job that you enjoy or whatever, instead of getting stuck, unless you don't mind being 11 Bravo, because that's a lot of the time what people end up getting put into, is to be an 11 Bravo after, if they fail 18 X-ray. This may fail selection. Okay, Chris, gotta go. Happy Veterans Day once again. Take care. Thanks, Jay the Vorn. Thanks for stopping in for Chaos Live. Fun fact, you don't have to be a Cav Scout to earn the spurs. My dad's a mechanic, and he has them. I have them as well. I was an 88 Mike. Mine are right over here. Here are my spurs, just hanging out right over here. So, key thing. These are silver spurs. They have silver spurs and they have gold spurs. Now, I know what the standard is for like the who wears what spurs, but when I was in the 3rd ACR, they did things kind of weird. They didn't really do it the same way a lot of other cav units do things. I don't know if when I was in there, they just messed up, or if that's just the way they've always done it. But I was given silver spurs because it was my first time receiving spurs. And then they gave their individuals who either did the spur ride and deployed, or did more than one deployment, gold spurs. The actual, I think, regulation or whatever memorandum they have is actually supposed to be, I believe, silver spurs for people who do spur rides, gold spurs for individuals who go to combat. So technically, based on that standard, I should have gold spurs and not silver spurs. But I don't really care too much. It's not a big deal to me. So, but yeah, those are my spurs right there. It was reported in the Army Times newspaper. Was that the gaming thing? I don't really read the Army Times. Some people at work read the Army Times, and sometimes they'll catch some of it, but I don't usually want to check it out. After basic training, are we allowed to keep and use our stuff we brought to AIT? Some things you might be able to use in AIT. Sometimes it just depends on your AIT. Some AIT is a little bit more stricter than others. And it sometimes also depends on the length of your AIT. Usually AITs that are longer, usually will get to a certain point where you get a lot more privileges, where AITs that are pretty short, it's fairly strict for the entire way through AIT. So it kind of just depends. Sometimes you'll get certain access to certain things. Like me as an 88 Mike, my AIT at the time was 5 weeks. I think now it's 6 weeks, but it was 5 weeks back then. And we didn't really get any special privileges. It was pretty strict, fairly strict most of the way through. Like I had a Discman, but I had it hidden in my wall locker, and I would sneak into my wall locker at night and listen to some music a little bit before bed. But we weren't allowed to have like a Discman, you know, or any kind of music playing devices. Back then they didn't really have MP3 players, I don't think. It was because I was like 99, so I don't think we really had that. But I had CD players, and I had a CD player, a little portable CD player. I remember I had the Korn, and I had Metallica and Pantera and maybe a couple other albums that I'd listened to in my wall locker. Bless you. Well, thank you, Jay Landry, right? Is that how I pronounce it? Thanks for the sneeze earlier. In the Army, it ain't called a high and tight. It's called a high and hua. Never heard that. Maybe some people call it that. I didn't like high in the tights. I usually get a medium fade. That's what I would usually get. I didn't like the high and tight. Is that we're talking about? There was something. I think I got behind on the comments here. Where are we at here? Something else I just saw. What was the highest and tightest high and tight you've ever seen while in the Army? I don't know. I don't know what the highest would be, but I wasn't a fan of high and tights. Is it true that you will never see an officer smoke? I don't know if it's true that you'll never see an officer smoke, but I can't remember if I've ever seen an officer smoke. Have I? It's got to be. I'd imagine that there's some lieutenants or captains that I knew that smoked, but I can't remember off the top of my head. I think I've seen some do chewing tobacco, but actually smoking cigarettes, I can't recall. But I've never heard that little myth or whatever of saying you'll never see him smoke. But I also can't think of, off the top of my head, any officers that I've known that smoked either. So I don't know. Maybe it is true. Can you get a medium face in AIT? Medium fade in AIT? It's pretty much just a buzz cut. You're kind of just stuck with a buzz cut the entire time you're basic training. When you go to AIT, they'll give you a little bit more leeway of your style for your haircut, just keeping it within standards. But basic training, you're pretty much just stuck to a so you said an AIT, but yeah, in AIT you can probably get that kind of stuff. Basic training is stuck to pretty much like a buzz cut. Hi, Ninja 15015. Currently at, let's see, what was this? Sean. I don't know. It's a combination of a word. I'll call you Sean. Sean, currently at Fort Sam Houston, 468 Whiskey AIT. Thank you for your service. Well, thank you, Sean. Thank you for yours. What units did you serve in? A lot. 113 Armor was my very first unit in Fort Riley, Kansas. and then the Joint Security Area in Korea, and then I was with the 3rd Armored Cavalry Division, 30 ACR, in Fort Carson. Deployed with them to Iraq, and then when I came back, I was for a short period of time with the 204th for like a few months before going to 410 Cav. And 410 Cav was the last unit I was with before getting out of the Army. Are Rangers solely a fighting force, or do they have different jobs? Well, Rangers can be a lot of MOSs. They're almost, I feel like almost, there's a huge list of what MOSs qualify to be in the Ranger Battalion. So it feels like almost every MOS in the Army. But yeah, you can still have 88 mics, you can still have medics, you can still have finance people, and still be Ranger and be in the Rangers, in the 75th Rangers. So not all Rangers are like, it's not like Special Forces where you have like a lot of those kind of, you know, jobs of, you know, doing a lot of assaulting and infantry type of work. So you can have all sorts of jobs that are in the Rangers. I have, but most I know smoke cigars. For officers, yeah, I can't remember think of any officers off the top of my head, so I don't know. If you were to go back, what top 5 MOS would you consider? I always forget what it is. I should probably memorize it. Again, go back to what one of the person said earlier about needing an MOS cheat sheet. The MOS that does television and radio would have been probably a fun one. I don't know about top 5, but that's just based on my interest. It's not like necessarily what I would say to anybody, because if you don't have an interest in doing that kind of thing, then it would probably be a horrible job for you. So, you watch yourself in that caffeine, brother. Well, Bob, the rock star today. But caffeine, I don't drink a whole lot of caffeine. You were the one we had this conversation with in the comment section, talking about for me to go to AA for my caffeine addiction. No. But I don't really drink a whole lot of caffeine. I have a Rockstar in the morning, but I don't drink coffee. So it's kind of like my substitute for, a lot of people drink coffee in the mornings. I don't drink coffee in the morning. I don't drink coffee really at all. Occasionally, maybe have a Starbucks, but not very often. And then most of the day, I usually have like Gatorade or a brisk tea or something along those lines usually. And then sometimes with dinner, I might have a soda. But I don't really drink a whole lot of caffeine. I don't feel like I do anyways. But yeah, Rockstar to hang out with you guys because it was available. So happy Veterans Day, shipping next week. Can you use an enlistment contract for military discounts before shipping out? I don't think so. I think you're gonna have to wait until you have a military ID or something. I don't think just having an enlistment contract prior to joining is going to get you any kind of military discounts. So I'm gonna say no. In any of the units you served in, did you know anyone in the unit who considered themselves a redneck? Oh yeah, I've known quite a few who consider themselves rednecks. Nothing wrong with that. Holy crap, we're already at an hour. All right, so we'll go through a few more comments before we're gonna cut this off, because I usually try to keep this to about an hour. But before we go through those last little bit of comments, if you are interested, I do have a store if you want to check it out. If you're interested in a Chaos t-shirt, I have different Chaos hoodies and t-shirts and everything. I am also thinking about moving my shirts that I have to Amazon. Whoever subscribed, thank you. I can't see it because I'm not on the right screen, but if you subscribed, thank you. But I'm thinking about moving my shirts to Amazon. I think it might make it easier for some people who are interested in getting a Chaos shirt compared to going through this website service that I currently have on my website that creates the t-shirts. So I might try that out pretty soon. Hopefully it makes it easier for some people. So be on the lookout for that. I'll probably test it out pretty soon. And then I do have a Patreon, just a small few people, but for those small few people, you do get some good perks available to you. I'm probably gonna add another tier to it. Right now I just have the $5 tier. I'm probably gonna add a $1 tier, just some more generic stuff. So you want a little bit more generic, not necessarily all the stuff that I offer with the $5 one, then it's an option available to you. So if you're interested in that, kind of check back. I'll probably have a $1 tier here real soon, but I do have those available to you. The store is at ChristopherChaos.com/store. The Patreon is at patreon.com/ChristopherChaos. Those links are also down in the description as well, so you don't have to memorize them. You don't have to write them down right now or anything like that. You can find those links down in the description. So we'll do a few more questions before we're going to have to cut this off and end it for the night. Let's see. I'm a prior service member looking to join the active duty Army. I've been out for over 5 years, so I know I have to go back to boot camp. Can I, as a prior service, join delayed entry program? Walter, welcome to the Chaos Army. Join the delayed entry program if I need extra time. I don't know. I don't know if prior service could do the delayed entry program. I don't see why not, but there might be a thing where they don't want prior enlisted in the delayed entry program. I don't know. That would probably be a better question to ask a recruiter, because I don't know if you can do the delayed entry program as a prior enlisted. Brad's Heavy Equipment Adventures. Thank you. What, Jesse? Why? why are you donating $2 for a super chat? So, welcome to the live stream. My girlfriend decided to donate $2. But you're supposed to, sweeties, what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to ask a question. You're supposed to donate, and in that donation, ask a question, and I get straight to your question. So Jesse donated $1.99 through Super Chat. Thank you. Is that, you're going to get that money back with probably teas and other stuff that I'll buy you later. So, that's funny. Edward, thanks for the 99-cent donation. Oh, Jesse. Happy Veterans Day, Chris. Hope you're able to celebrate. I kind of did. I mean, we went and came back from Denver, went to Olive Garden, and when we went to Olive Garden, they had some kind of special thing for veterans to pick from and get a free meal. So I got a free lasagna, so it's kind of cool. Coffee all the time, give me the muddy water. That's horrible. Chris, can an enlisted soldier ever override an order by an officer if the soldier knows for sure that the orders given by the officer is in direct contrast to what is legal or could get them killed? Yeah, I would imagine so. So there's probably a correct format to do that, but yeah, if you want to, specifically contest what it is that they're trying to tell you to do and you don't feel it's legal, then yeah, I'm sure you could get away with it. Alec Newton, happy Veterans Day, Chris. Thank you for the $5 donation. Alec, you are awesome and you rule. So thanks for that. Rippets, Skechers kid. I hate Rippets. Rippets are kind of gross. I've gotten kind of sick of Rippets. I don't think I've had a Rippet since the last time I was in Iraq. So it's been a long time. What are your favorite military movies, if you do like them at all? In the Army Now, probably. I love that movie. The movie's awesome. All right, a couple more questions, and we're cutting off the live stream because it's we've already gone over the hour limit time. If you want to do a longer one, we got to get up to 50,000 subscribers. 50,000 subscribers, and I'll do a special 2-hour Chaos Live episode if you guys are interested in that. Anyways. I had an NCO in that unit. What unit? Oh, I responded to somebody. Gotcha. When are you legally a vet? I don't know, I guess it depends. I mean, you can still be a veteran that's currently in the military, and then once you're out of the military, you got discharged. You're still a veteran. I don't know. Probably some people wouldn't be considered a veteran if you got dishonorably discharged, even though you technically were a veteran, just dishonorably. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I really would call myself a veteran when I was like pretty new in the Army. Veterans mainly, like the term veteran, mostly applies to somebody who's already out of the military. Somebody who's currently in the military, a lot of people don't really call them a veteran, but they still are kind of a veteran. I don't know. And then some people don't feel like they should be called veterans if they didn't deploy. So it's kind of up to interpretation. I don't know. I don't know where I would kind of stand on that either. Hey Chris, can you explain OSIT training a little? I've been trying to look it up, leaving July for basic for 19 kilo. I don't have all of the answers for you for OSIT training, but essentially other MOSs do basic training and then they do AIT. So basic training is the basic stuff, AIT is the job related stuff, where OSIT is all of that's combined. You're never leaving the location, you're doing all of it in one. So it's a little bit more combined and stuff. So that's the best kind of description I give you because I've never experienced OSIT, but essentially it's just basic training, AIT, smashed together to get it all knocked out and do it all at one time. All right, so we'll do one last question. Then we're gonna call it Walter. Just saying goodnight. That doesn't count as a question. All right, so whatever the last question is, the next question that pops up will be the final question for this episode of Chaos Live. So we'll give it a minute. We'll see what pops up. If your question is the last one, then it'll be the last one. But fear not. If you did not have your question answered and you still have questions, come back to this video later after YouTube has processed it and ask the question down in the comment section. And I will help you out. It's another reply. Sketchers Kids Gaming saying goodnight. That's not a question. Who's got a question? One last question. Love your vids. Thanks, Tristan. Is there no last question? If there's no last question, that's fine too. I know there's a little bit of a delay, so I'm trying to give you guys a chance because there's that little bit of delay between me talking and what you're seeing over there. But everybody else seems to be just saying thanks, so I think we're gonna cut it off. I think we'll cut off the live stream unless I see something pop up here in the next couple of seconds. Here we go. Last one from Gaston. Would you consider going officer route rather than enlisted? Yeah, it wouldn't be that bad. Like knowing what I know now, it probably wouldn't be that bad of a gig. But you kind of, you have to go through college and do all that kind of stuff like that. And I'm not a big fan of college stuff. Like I got an associate's, and the only thing holding me back from getting a bachelor's degree is I don't want to do math and English again. So I don't know. So, all right. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Thanks for joining another episode of Chaos Live. Welcome to the new set. You'll see next week probably this set getting utilized in some videos. I've already got this week's videos kind of pre-prepped somewhat that I got to finish some things up here and there, and then we'll go through that. Temple Longhorn, wait, don't. I need your opinion. Okay, you're the last one then. But for everybody else, as we're closing this out, before Temple gets his question in here, just make sure you hit that like button on this video if you're having a great time, and make sure you show some love for it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure to subscribe. Temple going to Fort Hood could be bad, could be good. The area can be cool. It's got some good stuff, but I hear they do a lot of training. Is that your question? Otherwise, because we're gonna go here in a minute. If that was your question about Fort Hood. Otherwise, we had to cut this off. We're already at an hour and 14 minutes. All right, we're gonna cut it off. If you have any additional questions, leave them in the comment section of this video. Come back to it, leave some comments in there. I can easily get to those questions usually at a later time to be able to answer those questions and help you out. I just won't be able to answer them in this video format. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining in Chaos Live. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.